Okay guys, so in this video what I'm gonna go over, go back. What I'm gonna go over is types of triangles, okay? So you have to learn, this is for geometry specifically, and I just want to give you guys, especially if you're in trig, if you're in trig, this can also be kind of a refresher, because in trig you learn about these literally all, like the entire class. So we're gonna get started. Okay, so yeah, so this is types of triangles. So just kind of some terminology. So the first one that I want to go over is an equilateral triangle. An equilateral triangle means that all the sides are congruent. So that means that, when we have these little tick marks indicate that all the sides of this triangle are congruent. And that means that also all the angles are congruent. Notice that we have a 60 here, a 60 here, and a 60 here. So that means that all of these angles are congruent because they're the same degrees. They're all 60 degrees. The next one is an isosceles triangle. So this means that only two sides are congruent, and also, so that means that DE is congruent to EF, and only two angles are congruent. So that means that angle EDF is congruent to angle EFD. Okay. So yeah, so please remember that when you see isosceles, always think two angles and two sides congruent. So yeah, as I said, you can say that angle EDF is congruent to angle EFD. Okay. Alright, so the other one that I want to go over is a scalene triangle. The scalene triangle just means that all of these, basically, and there you can clearly see that they're all kind of noted. You see how there's kind of a one angle here, and then we have a kind of to denote a two angle symbol here and a three angle symbol over here. Okay, sorry guys, hold on. Okay, so this one, okay, so yes, notice how there's we have, basically we have three different angles because they're the way that they're symbolized here. And notice that we also have three different sides because we have one tick mark here, two tick marks here, and three tick marks here. That means that none of them are congruent. And also for the angles, none of them are congruent. So basically, this means that the triangle has no congruent sides or angles. So anytime you think of scalene, the way that I always like to think about it, and it's weird, is when I think of scalene, I think that, like scaling, like it's not really, think of it kind of like a scale that's kind of like, you can never get it equal. Or think of the opposite of a balance, kind of. That's how I would think about it. But just remember that scaling just means that, there is no congruent angles or sides. Okay. Okay, so then an obtuse triangle, this one's where you have an angle that is greater than 90 degrees. So yes, you would either have one or two angles that are greater than 90 degrees. So because this one is 110 degrees, we would call this an obtuse triangle. Okay. And remember that it always has to add up to 180 degrees because any triangle that you have is 180 degrees. Okay. So also if angle ABC, or angle A plus angle B plus angle C is greater than 180, that means this is not a triangle because all triangles add up to 180 no matter what. Like the degrees, I mean, all the angles of a triangle add up to 180. So if you have more than 180 or less than 180, it would not be a triangle. Okay, so this one is a right triangle. This one means that we have an angle that measures 90 degrees. You see these all the time in trigonometry. This is literally a topic in trigonometry where you would go ahead and say, that, you know, for right triangle trigonometry, you work with these triangles in the entire section of that area. Okay. So on the right, you can say that angle ABC measures 90 degrees. And BAC is not congruent to ACB. That means that this part here, that this is, kind of why I labeled it this way, because this part here is not congruent to this part over here. This one has two angles to denote that it's not congruent to this, okay? That's another thing that I want you guys to note. The last one, I think, and I believe this is the last one, is an acute triangle. So acute triangles mean that all the angles of the in an acute triangle are less than 90. That means that this one is less than 90, this one is less than 90, and this one is less than 90. Another way that I like to think about it is like, and I know that my geometry teacher in high school said this. He said that it's kind of like, you can think of it as a really cute triangle because it's a small one, because all the angles are kind of really small. Okay, and that was my presentation, guys. I know I went a little bit fast with this. If you guys have any questions, please let me know right away. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, please let me know right away in the comments section down below. I know this was really fast, so please let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm more than happy to help. And yes, you learn all about these in trigonometry when and if you do trigonometry. And so trigonometry is a topic of geometry. So that's why I kind of have to go over these, because I want to make sure that whoever takes geometry is actually successful. So I hope this helps, guys, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.